Big thanks to everybody that supports the Shoot to Grill podcast, especially Northside Tool Rental. NorthsideToolRental.com. Make sure you check out all the things that they have that you can rent for the yard, for the construction site, a dingo, a bobcat, you name it. The fine folks at Northside Tool Rental, they got it. NorthsideToolRental.com. Again, thanks for your support, guys.
Shoot to grill, aim to chill. Too many cold ones, I need an Advil, yeah. Shoot to grill, I can't kill. So don't bring me nothing that's got chlorophyll, yeah.
Welcome to Shoot to Grill once again here at Atlanta Grill Company in beautiful Roswell, Georgia. My name is Jason Bailey. As always, to my lefty left, Rashid, who is going to be doing all of our grilling tonight on the Kamado Joe from PhillipsBarbecueCo.com, and our special celebrity guest. I'm such a huge fan of this man. I've watched him for years commentate wrestling, and now I get to sit beside him. It is the one, the only Tony Schiavone. Tony, thanks for being out here, man.
Great to be with you guys. Good to see you. I mean, we're having it's God. It's a gorgeous day, isn't it?
I know. Look, it's like the first episode of this podcast, and I was like, I'm wearing jeans and a long sleeve shirt.
Right.
We're like in that in between weather where I'm a little bit hot, but yet not too hot.
Yeah, it was like the summertime lasted until the 1st of October over here or something. It's the end of the earth.
Yeah. The other night we had I was putting a sweatshirt on at night. She came over, was playing poker at the house. And we're all kind of bundled up outside on the patio, and now it is what it is. So, so what we do here, Tony, before we get into all kinds of good stuff with you, is that she is one of the, if not most amazing chef you will ever run across. The food this guy makes, he can make peanut butter and jelly a 5-star meal.
All right.
So, Sheed, what are you going to do for us today?
So right now it's football season. I'm excited, and the staple of all football game parties is just wings. So we're going to do some nice wings on the KJ today, and we're actually going to hit it with some Atlanta Grill Company, the Big Chicken. Great flavor, real robust. They can grab it here, grab it online. I think it's part of their bundle set. And we're actually going to make our own ranch to go along with it. Something fresh, has a little bit of cilantro in there as well. So it's going to be real cool, and you don't like heat. So we won't do a lot of heat, we'll just have a lot of rich flavor and a nice flavorful ranch as well. I did the store-bought stuff, but why not make it yourself? There's a couple ingredients.
She asked Tony, he's like, do you like heat? Tony's like, no heat for the kid.
I used to, but I got to a certain age that I just can't take it anymore.
Acid reflux?
At the other end.
So the acid part was correct.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, so Sheed, I love cooking wings on my Kamado Joe. I usually put it in the what's called a jotisserie, where you put the ring on top and it's got a basket. It cooks like a rotisserie. Okay, what's that?
So we know how that is.
I know, I left them on there and I melted everything. So you're just going to put them on top, right?
I'm cooking them right on the very top grate. Got a nice little funnel of fire coming up. Get them nice and cooked through them, pulling closer to the heat, get that nice crispiness on the skin.
You a grill guy?
You know what? When the kids were younger, we grilled, but and we had a Weber grill with the charcoal, old school stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, my gosh, what has it become since then?
Yeah, well, it's an expensive hobby.
Yes, it is.
Well, you went inside.
Right.
Yeah, and you saw it's like it's a playground.
Yes,
for,
it is.
for grillers.
Right.
They've got the pellet over there. They've got the Napoleon, the propane,
the KJ, the British oven. It's everything you possibly want.
Yeah, well, you're right. It's a hobby, right? I mean, it's more than just cooking for the family. It's kind of a hobby now, and so no, it's just my wife and I at home now. We got one through the Smoky Joe's. Yeah, that's all we got. So just
it's kind of bragging rights too. If you got people over the house, I don't know how often you entertain, but I'll have people over my house all the time. I'm still a work in progress with grilling. And actually, one of the concepts for this podcast was I would go online to learn how to cook some things, and I'd see these YouTube videos by these good old boys, and it would take them, forever to get to what I needed them to give me. And I was like, this is not entertaining. So that's actually part of the concept, the idea of try to make it entertaining. Cook some food. We have a grill cam, for the finished product that people view online. That they'll see Sheet over at the KJ cooking it up, and then we eat, we bullshit for a little bit, and that's it.
Right.
It's pretty cool. All right, Sheet, do you want to go do some wings?
So get some wings.
Bring them over when they're ready. I'm going to talk to Tony about wrestling. Well, I guess outside of 1 year, it was wrestling for you, right?
Yeah, I guess for me it was always wrestling. I guess it's where you're from, right?
Well,
In
the
the South.
WCW versus the WWE.
Right. Right. I started with Jim Crockett Promotions in '83,
Yeah.
and then of course we were bought by Turner in '89. So I worked for Jim for a number of years. Worked with his baseball team, and worked for his wrestling company for a number of years, and then it all went big time.
Well, I can remember watching NWA when you started your career, and the Mulkey Brothers were always my favorite.
Oh, you love the Mulkey Brothers?
I loved the Mulkey Brothers. They never won,
Right.
except for that one day to
Yeah.
make it into the Crockett Cup tournament.
Yeah.
And I remember that day like it was yesterday. I was so excited for those fellas
Yeah.
coming to ring in their purple trunks every day. And they would get squashed.
Mhm.
It didn't matter who it was.
Right.
They would get squashed, and you look back at what wrestling was then versus what it is now and how far it's come in 30 years.
Sure.
It's got to kind of blow your mind a little bit.
Well, it's changed. It's obviously like everything else has changed. All sports have changed. With I guess TV has been the biggest reason for the change. Because it's back when I started, it was an arena sport, and television just fed the arena to get you to go to the arena. Now it's a TV show in itself to get you to come back each week and watch a TV show. Got an interesting story about the Mulkey Brothers.
Yeah.
Being a Mulkey fan, you will love this story.
Please. I love them. I love wrestling.
Okay, you remember when they won the match to go to the Crockett Cup?
Yeah, I do.
They didn't know they were going to win that match.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know. Who did they wrestle? I don't remember.
They wrestled. They put two guys in a mask and called them like.
That's right. They did.
It was one was Gary Royal, one was another guy. I can't. The Cripplers, Destroyers, or something,
Yeah.
some crazy name. And the idea was that one of the Mulkeys, one of them was going to pick up the Mulkey and trip over the other one, and the Mulkey would fall on for the 1, 2, 3. Well, the Mulkey brother that covered him didn't know it was still supposed to be a 1, 2, 3. So when the referee called 1, 2, 3, we all celebrated. The Mulkeys thought they had messed up and won by accident, and they were upset. So we go to David Crockett, and David goes to one of the Mulkeys, and it was one of the funniest things ever. It's like, "Hey, you won!" He went, "We won!" They didn't know they were supposed to win. They thought they were going to get in trouble with Dusty, who was the booker in the back about.
Were you guys ribbing them or?
It was kind of a rib.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a rib on them. Everybody knew they were going to win except them.
Oh, that's funny.
Isn't it something?
Yeah. Whatever happened to those guys?
I've seen them at a convention. We do wrestling conventions now at different places. About 3 years ago in Charlotte, I saw them at a wrestling convention.
They still wrestling?
Yeah. And not that they could. I mean, gosh, there's so much independent wrestling going on out there. I mean, Ricky and Robert, Rock and Roll Express still wrestle some. So, and it's amazing to me, really amazing to me that Ricky and Robert still wrestle, because I didn't think they could get a pass to get out of the nursing home to wrestle. And what the hell, there they are.
Yeah. They were just not that long ago. They did a spot with like Ring of Honor or something. I
Sure,
think.
yeah.
And outside of you can't beat time, right? I mean, time's gonna take its toll. You're gonna see it. But it's a Rock and Roll Express,
Right.
and you remember back in the I guess what is it? We're AWA, I guess. Right when they were wrestling. Where were they wrestling? What federation? What promotion did they wrestle out of?
Wow, they wrestled a lot of different places. Yeah, they were in the AWA. You're
Yeah, the
exactly
Kiss.
right.
They come out to Rock and Roll.
Right.
So it's cool, man.
Good memory.
Yeah, like I've got those spot memories, as a kid. I remember when Colonel De Beers pushed Jimmy Snook off the top rope and busted his head open.
Right.
And blood's everywhere, and I'm a kid going, "Oh my God, this is real!"
Right.
Bam Bam Bigelow in the crowd, this giant man with a white T-shirt gets picked out of a crowd, just a fan to get in the ring. That kind of stuff always stuck with me.
Yeah, that's stuff you grow up with and you never forget. You remember that stuff. Again, about Ricky and Robert, I told Ricky, and I talked to him not that long ago, but Robert still lives here in Douglasville.
Oh, really?
And Ricky lives, I think, somewhere in Tennessee. And I told Rick, I said, you got to be careful now because of his age, because if he takes a crazy bump, he's lost teeth. Okay? And then he'll have to look and smile with his gums on.
Or they have to change their name to Classic Rock and Roll Express. You can use that. Just give me a wink if you're using it on TV.
I will.
Just give me a wink.
Okay.
So, what was it that got you? Go all the way back to the beginning, because I want to know how you got into the business. As even being out of the business for as many years as you were, and then now back with AEW, you were always such a recognizable face and name associated with wrestling.
Right.
WCW, obviously, mostly, but how did you initially get into the business?
Well, I was a baseball guy. I first of all, grew up in Virginia and was a big baseball guy, fan, and a big wrestling fan too. A fan of Jim Crockett Promotions, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Ric Flair, Walter McDaniel, Anderson Brothers. And when I graduated from college, I got a baseball job, minor league baseball in Greensboro, South Atlantic. And did that for a year. And then the Charlotte job, double the baseball field. And I knew that the Charlotte team was owned by Jim Crockett Promotions. I'd known that because Frances Crockett, was Jim and David's sister, David Crockett's sister, ran the baseball team for the company. Went down and interviewed with her, and she hired me on the spot. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to do baseball, but I'm going to push you to wrestling because that's what I want to do. So, 82 was my first year with Crockett's. All of 82, I did their broadcast. I would tell Frances, if you guys ever need a wrestling announcer, I can do it. I was a fan. I can do this stuff. And she said, oh, we'll let you know. Spent 2 years doing baseball, and then at the end of the 83 season, she called me in her office one day, and she said, okay, they do need someone to interview Ric Flair at his house for this big event coming up called Starrcade. I was like, oh my God. Are you kidding me? I said, no. She said, go do it. She said, but I can tell you right now, I know you're going to do a good job, so this may lead to something else. And it wasn't like a week later they had me now in front of the camera doing local interviews, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling coming to the Charlotte Coliseum, or the Greensboro Coliseum, the Roanoke Civic Center. I interviewed the bad guys and the good guys, and it kind of blossomed from there. At the beginning of 1984, they had me do a little bit of commentary to see how I would do then. And then, April of 84, they bought the rights to air World Championship Wrestling on TBS for each event. And Jim told me, I'd like for you to do it. And I said, okay. I said, well, I still got baseball. He said, you still do baseball. So I did baseball April of 84 is when we started on TBS. I did baseball 84 and 85, and after the 85 season, I gave baseball up.
Do you remember your first contract you got in wrestling?
First contract I got in wrestling? It was with WCW in 1990.
Well, so you never had a contract for what, 5-6 years?
No, I worked as an independent contractor and just, first contract I ever signed was when I came back to WCW.
Was it just not as organized and structured like it is now?
Yeah, it was a different business. All the guys, all the talent in the business back then worked as independent contractors. So you got paid on 1099s. You got paid per event that you worked. So I would get paid for every time I'd work on TBS, or every time I'd go out and be a ring announcer, they paid me there because I did some of those too. Every time I did a show, they would pay me. I still got a baseball salary, and they continue paying me my baseball salary through wrestling, which was like $10,000 a year.
So how did they get guys at that time? I mean, at least to me, and this is not that long ago, how did they get guys to stay in the NWA versus going to the WWF at the time? Did they have any, there's no contract?
There were no guarantee, there was no health insurance. You just got paid on a per event basis.
Well, Vince had contracts, right? No? So people could go and do what they want.
And that's what they did a lot. Back in the territory days, you would go for the AW, you go to the AWA a little bit, you would wrestle there for a couple of years until the fans started seeing that. Then you would go to the Jim Crockett Promotions. Then you would go to, let's say, Continental Wrestling in Alabama, or you go to Florida Championship Wrestling, or you would go up to what we call New York, the WWF, or you would go out west, and you travel around all the time, and you kind of stuck around. If you were hot and you were making money, you stayed in that territory until the promoter says, we can't use you anymore. But the promoter would always say, like, we can't use you anymore, but we got a place for you to go to Mid-South Wrestling. And it was kind of a gentleman's agreement. They would trade talent all the time. It was a very different era.
Did you look at it the way that I think fans looked at it, as there were tiers with New York or the WWF, WWE now being the top tier? You always wanted to get there because you were with the WWF for a minute, but did you look at it like, I've got to get to New York?
I think later we did. I think back in the 70s and 80s, no. I think wrestlers just looked, everything was kind of even back then. There was no nationwide promotion back then. I think when the Superstation started, Georgia Championship Wrestling started on the Superstation, that's when kind of things changed because it became a national promotion. But wrestling was very much a regional promotion everywhere across the country. Everybody had their own TV. Nobody was really on cable, local TV. And so I think later on, as we went to the 90s and 2000, the WWE was the place to be. But prior to that, everything was kind of an even play.
When did you know that the WCW was going to give the WWE, I guess at the time, major competition?
I think when Nitro started in 1995, and we started doing a live Monday night show. And when they started the NWO, and Scott Hall walked on later that year, and
that was cool.
That was cool. But I think really what turned us around was when Hulk Hogan turned heel at Bash Beach.
I was there.
Yeah, that was
Ocean Center, Daytona Beach.
I
was sitting in Mean Gene's section. He got me tickets. He's my neighbor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he hooked it up.
God bless Mean Gene.
I love him. God bless Mean Gene.
Yeah. But I think that's what turned it around.
Yeah.
That's when we knew we would.
But you never thought you were still. I mean, we were still in the wrestling world. There, no internet. The blurring of reality and fiction was still there. You wanted to believe, and no one in a million years ever thought that you would see Hogan go heel.
No.
It was just unfathomable.
Yeah, and it was unfathomable. And if you go back and you look at it again, and I've watched it again, he just did such an amazing job at turning heel.
No.
He really, really did. It was one of the great heel turns of all time. One of the great heel interviews. So he made it work, and that started us being red hot. Because Hogan had come here in '94, or had come to WCW in '94 as Hulk Hogan, and he wrestled Ric Flair in Orlando at Bash of the Beach and won the WCW World Title. But we still were doing okay. We were doing better, much better. But until he turned heel and the NWO was formed, we didn't really, as we say, have the big pop of ratings.
What was your reaction when you found out Hogan was going to turn heel?
I didn't know Hogan was going to.
Not even during the
wrestling is like any other type of entertainment. It's crazy backstage. And I worked on some movies. I worked on Ready to Rumble, and I did a couple of episode of Hollis. So I know how things can be backstage area and rewrites. Things happen all the time. That day, we had heard that Hogan was going to be the other man. Possibly, but they hadn't talked him into it. So we had also heard Bret Hart, and we were just told we don't know who it's going to be. So just kind of react to anything we see. So when Hogan walked out, I didn't know if Hogan was coming out to defend WCW's honor, or he was coming out what he was going to do. So we didn't know until it happened.
Wow.
That he actually was going to return. So,
that's interesting. I was in Orlando. I lived in Orlando at the time, and I was going to the University of Central Florida. Go Knights, national champs.
National champs.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
And so I'm at the gym in Oviedo, which is right up the street, this World's Gym, and Scott Hall would work out there all the time. And I was such a big Scott Hall, Razor Ramon fan. And it's funny because I see him every year at Diamond Dallas Page's Christmas party, and I still have not talked to him. I don't know why Anyway, so I see him, he's on the squat machine, lay down squats, doing squats, wearing this goofy workout outfit, these short shorts and a tank top. And I walk over to him, Mr. Hall, hi, I'm sorry to bother you, my name is Jason Bailey, I'm going to be at Bash of the Beach this weekend. Just want to if you could tell me the fourth member of the NWA, I mean, a college kid, I mean, I'm 22 years old, and he's in his, it's this gimmick, and like, who do you think it is? Hey, yo, who do you think it is? I'm like, I think it's Yokozuna. He goes, oh, that's a good guess. Bret Hart. That's another good guess. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, enjoy your workout.
Wow.
Never forget that.
How about that? That's very cool.
Never forget that. It's those things, man. And then WCW goes to a place where the WWF couldn't compete.
Right.
They got what I would say desperate. Being in the entertainment business, when you have competition and you've got no other content, you start going at your competition. In a failed manner, which they did until they were able to groom their stars like The Rock and Stone Cold, these guys. But from the WCW standpoint, were you looking at it going, wow, we could possibly put Vince McMahon out of business?
There was a time where Vince was really financially in trouble because of the success we had.
Wow.
Eric Bischoff still has a podcast called 83 Weeks, which talks about 83 straight weeks we beat them out in the ratings. And so there was and I know Eric wanted to put Vince out of business. I always thought that there's enough wrestling fans that everybody could pick the ride. I always thought if wrestling was good, everybody would be able to stay around, but it was very much of a cutthroat. We had a meeting. It was the Target Center, Minnesota. Can't tell you what year it was, but it was in the height of what we were doing. And he had a meeting. We called it a team meeting with all the wrestlers, all the production people. And I remember him saying that he will not rest until he puts a stake to Vince McMahon's heart. And he said that line. I remember word for word. And now he's working for Vince, writing SmackDown. So it's weird. It's just kind of weird that from what it was back in the late 90s to what it is right now.
I would assume too that for the guys that have been around for a while, for a minute, like yourself and Bischoff and Vince, it's hard not to hold personal grudges. With even Paul Heyman in the ECW days versus Vince, and now they all work for Vince. It's kind of, I don't know now if it burns as much as it did when they initially started working.
Right.
Because now it's a different day and age. Everybody's older, a lot more mature. You got to work somewhere. You got to collect a paycheck. But at the time, I'm sure that must have killed them.
Yeah, you're right. And one thing that I've noticed about getting older is that time heals all.
Yeah.
Or makes things not as much. So the things that Eric said back then, I know probably regrets right now, and I know Vince wrote what he had to say. I've said some bad things about Vince, and I've said not publicly, amongst the boys and everything. And I'm sure it's gotten back to him,
but Vince has probably said those things about other people too.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I worked with him for years, so I know how he was. And it was I guess it still is, and now with the AEW, I guess it's going to become even another couple of businesses. Right?
Yeah, but I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, trying to explain to a non-wrestling fan how wrestling is back into the mainstream, and it's because of my generation. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm 44 years old, and we have kids, and we grew up on Saturday NWA wrestling, into the WCW Monday Night Wars with the WWF, and now those guys are still around. So you can relate to that, but then you have these new wrestlers, these new stars with new promotions, and so it's a bonding experience. It's kind of like, my generation's fathers taking us to, the Coliseum and wherever, and you would go and see these cards, and they would tell you about the days of going and seeing Bruno Sammartino and Baron von Raschke, and how wrestling used to be then. It's almost like it skipped a generation, and now it's back to what it was.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is, and I think the internet has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, totally.
Now you can, we have, the stars that we have in AEW are Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and Bucks. But Omega, the Bucks, and Cody were considered the elite, and they had this YouTube series called Being the Elite, and it made them stars just from that series. And fans kind of got into them, and fans feel that they're a part of this. I think fans feel that they're a part of wrestling more now. The fans who actually come and watch on a regular basis, they feel that they're closer to it, and they're a reason for all this.
Yeah, and a lot of the stars in AEW, because they're so social media driven, you can follow their lives and their storylines even without the broadcast, which is great.
That's right.
So let's take, for example, the initial night AEW on TNT, first time in 20 years, and good old JR and Excalibur noted. I know as a wrestling fan, I'd say I'm a little bit more than a casual wrestling fan, but I wasn't familiar with some of the guys on there. You did such an amazing job, and I texted you this the other night, but for our audience, an amazing job in the first 10 minutes of that broadcast, storytelling to set me up for what that show was going to provide for me as a fan. That's all I could think about. That's all I got out of that whole broadcast was the story you told in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
You and JR and Excalibur.
Well, thanks. That means we did our job. We talked about that during our production meeting. We talked about, we've got guys that we know that are very famous on the internet. We got the elite, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, those guys. But we need to let the millions of fans who may have never seen them know who they are and try to tell the story, because it gets down to personal stories. It gets down to, it's just like any other form of entertainment. If you identify with the good guy or even really, really hate the bad guy, then you're really invested in that story, and that's what gets it going. That's kind of the reason I thought that all the matches we had in that 2-hour show, the women's match told the best story, because it was the young girl from Japan who was very, very thin, and the Beast Night Rose that should be able to come back from that.
Right.
It's all about telling stories, and if we told a story, got you invested into it, then we did our job.
Well, and the strategy with the card, and I didn't realize this until maybe 2 or 3 days later, it pops in my head. So the curtain jerky match of the night was Cody Rhodes, and some dude wearing a panda hat.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, right. I'm like, who the hell is the dude wearing a panda hat?
Right.
But he ends up coming out at the end to join what might be the new faction,
Right.
which I thought was so clever because I had no idea who he was, but still involved with the post-match interview that didn't go the way, because Jericho comes in and attacks Cody, but he's there and kind of I just thought everything about it was so simplistic and it made sense. The WWE at times, I think, makes it a little bit more complicated than what it needs to be.
Right. And I can't speak for that, but from a distance, it just seems to me that that's because there may be one too many writers in the tail. One thing I know about working on TV shows is that if you have let's say 12 people working on TV shows, you can argue a point and give opinions all night, all day, to where you're tired. But if you just get a couple people working on it,
You don't have writers in AEW, right?
No.
So is the wrestlers in charge of?
No, Tony Khan's in charge of it. Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Kenny.
Do the people pitch them their ideas and their storylines, or do they funnel down?
They funnel
Funnel down, not funnel up?
Yeah, they funnel down, but they'll go to Jericho and pitch the storyline, and Jericho will say, okay, then we'll tweak it a little bit, and let's kind of go back and forth. Guys who have been in the business quite a while, they always went there. I think it's always been that way. The guys who wrestle, I think for years, even back when we're talking in the 80s when Dusty was the booker and Ric Flair was the champion. Dusty was the booker, but he always took Ric Flair's input on what Ric Flair thought would be right.
Even with their feud, he was booking the match?
Yeah.
And so, that's at some point in time, you're like, all right, look, we've wrestled enough times and I've lost. I think it might be time for you to put me over.
Well, yeah.
But I don't think Dusty really ever did that, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah, he put himself over a number.
He put himself over.
That's right.
Do you see a lot of Dusty and Cody?
You know what? I do creatively, but they are so different as far as what they like. For instance, Dusty and Cody and I talked about this interesting story. Cody and I both have a lot of similarities in that we love Star Trek, Star Wars, fantasies. And
you can only pick one, you know that. Star Wars or Star Trek, Tony? Can't have both.
Oh, yeah, you can have both. Of course you can. Of course you can.
That's an argument that you and I will have, but go ahead.
There's explorers and then there's fighters. There's wars and there's exploration.
There's Star Wars and there's nothing else.
Wow.
Just
Okay.
my 2 cents, but I'm interviewing you, so
Okay.
you go ahead.
So we like them both. We like them both, as most sci-fi fans should. But Dusty was big into cowboys and John Wayne and cowboys and Indians and that type of thing. Cody tells me the story that when he was very young, they went to a wrestling show, or his dad took him on a wrestling trip, and they went to a quarter horse museum. And Cody says, "What the hell is a quarter horse museum?" It was in Texas, and Dusty wanted to see it. So that's how they're different, and it has, you know.
The meats on the Shoot to Grill podcast are amazing, thanks to Terry and Atlanta Steaks and Seafood.com. You got to have good meat. You got to grill it up. You got to have the best in the business. That's what Terry has. So wherever you're at, he can ship it to you or drop it off. Atlanta Steaks and Seafood.com. Thanks, Terry.
Creatively, very similar, but because they both have what we call a vision, what they want to see, but both are very different about what they like.
Well, Cody Rhodes is the epitome of a generation. You
Right.
know, as far as, and I say that with much respect and in a positive way, of, hey, look, I'm just not happy working for the machine or the man. I think I can do it better myself.
Right.
And I'm going to do it better myself. Watch me.
Right.
And he goes and he does it, and so far so good.
Yeah.
I mean, the shows leading up to the TNT broadcast were phenomenal. Selling out in minutes, nobody saw it coming. But there's a group of people, fans, wrestling fans, that want the same thing as Cody and the Bucks, and those guys, and that's to have an alternative to the WWE.
Right.
And that's what you guys are, because you guys are not making it a fight. technically.
No, we're not.
It's an alternative. Yeah, that's the way you're looking at it, right? When did they come to you?
Boy, I can't remember the date.
Because I'm sure you were shocked, right?
Yeah, I had been working, doing some work for MLW, and I knew that I had heard that they were going to be on TNT, and Cody and I have always been friends. I've been with Cody forever. And Cody had this the first event that they had, which was called Hauled Out, when he beat Nick Aldis for the NWA title. They wanted me to come do the commentary for it, and I couldn't do it because it was football. I worked with Georgia Bulldogs. Then they had an NWA event in Nashville that I got permission from MLW to do. Now, I'd signed a contract with MLW thinking that, you know, it's just a little bit of extra money. My years in wrestling are done. I had to do wrestling, getting into business. So I was working for MLW and had done a couple of things for Cody. And Bruce Pritchard does a podcast with us. So we all do podcasts for Conrad Thompson. I do one, Pritchard does one, Bischoff does one, JR does one, and Anderson does one. So we got one every day of the week.
It's a lot of podcasts.
A lot of podcasts. A lot, yeah. It's kind of a network now. So Bruce told me, Bruce was going to work back at the WWE, and he says, when I go back, this is like first of the year, he said, when I go back to WWE, he said, I'll see if there's anything for you. I'll give you a call. I said, okay. So nothing really happened. So he finally called me, and he said, listen, there's interest here to having you work for the WWE Network. And I said, he said, we'll be back in touch. I said, okay. So I immediately called Conrad, who's, you know, my confidant, my friend, and I owe Conrad Thompson a lot. I really do. I called Conrad and I said, Bruce called me, and there's interest for me in the WWE. I said, interesting. He turns around and calls Cody. And Cody sends me, I mean, we're talking about minutes later. Cody sends me a text. He said, I don't want you to go to work for the WWE. And I sent him a text back. I said, well, you guys haven't offered me anything, so what the hell? So, went back and forth with WWE, called Bruce. Bruce said, we'll have a HR lady get in touch with you. HR lady calls me and says, what do you need? Will you come back to live in Connecticut? I said, I really don't want to do that, but I got it, I will. I said, I've got a commitment with the Georgia Bulldogs, football and basketball this year. I made a commitment. I still got to do that. She said, how much money do you need? And I gave him some astronomical figure. and she said, "Okay, we'll be back in touch with you." Week went by, didn't hear anything. Cody called me, so will you talk to Tony Khan? I said, sure. So Tony Khan called me, went down to Jacksonville, they own the Jacksonville Jaguars. Went down to Jacksonville at the stadium and met with him. It was an all-day meeting. It was a 7-hour meeting. Wow. Yeah, I got there like 10 o'clock in the morning and left like at 5. Wow. And it was good.
That's a good meeting.
That is a good meeting. It was fun. I mean, we went all over the stadium, talked to people, and he offered me a deal and offered me really good money. And I said, well, I told him, I said, I got to wait to hear what the WWE has to say. He said, I get it. He said, if they offer you more money than I'm offering you, he said, I would suggest you take it. I said, okay. So the girl called me back. She said, still nothing. I said, all right. Then we're pushing up towards SummerSlam now, and I called Tony. I said, you know what? I think they're jerking me around. I said, so I haven't heard anything from them yet, but even if it's like $1 million a year, I think we're going to sign with you. He said, no, it's $1 million a year, you sign with him. I said, okay. So right before SummerSlam, she called and she said, we'll talk to you after SummerSlam. I said, okay. The Monday after SummerSlam, this lady calls, her name was Meredith, and she says, thank you very much for your interest, but there's nothing here for you. I said, Meredith, sweetie, you guys contacted me. It's not, I didn't contact you. So,
it's demeaning, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I called Tony immediately. I said, yeah, I'm in. He said, okay, you're in. And that was on Monday. Saturday, Bruce Pritchard calls me back. He said, did you hear anything yet? I said, yes, I sure did. There's nothing there for me. And I've signed with the WWE. He said, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. And that's how it all went down.
So Meredith didn't know.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I was told by them that I did have a job with the WWE and I was going to be a producer with the network, which was really cool. I really like doing announcing, but I just like a job, and I love producing. So, but I don't know what happened. It was the craziest thing I've ever heard. But the good news is that I work for Tony Khan. I work for his company, and I get to live here where I've lived for 30 years, and still do the Georgia Bulldogs.
You're shooting a lot of stuff. I know some productions being done here,
Right.
But some of it's done in Nashville. Right?
No, we do all our production here.
All of it in Atlanta.
Yeah, DDP my studio.
Yeah, I was going to.
Right.
I didn't know if that was public knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. They've got a great television setup at DDP.
Oh, Dylan and Nathan, they do a really good job.
Yes, they do.
There.
Exactly right.
I know.
Steve Yu, who's like
Steve Yu is the man.
He sure is.
He's a secret weapon.
Yes, he is.
In the business.
Yeah, and they got a guy, another guy, Robert, who's there, and Weird Louie, and Derek. They got a great crew over there. I really like this.
The house that Shark Tank built.
That's it, right?
We're talking about DDP. Diamond Dallas Page has got a performance studio right outside of Atlanta in Smyrna.
In Smyrna, right?
And it's gorgeous.
It is.
And DDP would tell you this. It was paid for by his appearance on Shark Tank.
Sure.
There was no deal that was ever made, but so many people signed up for his DDP Yoga, ddpyoga.com. Bang, you're welcome. That they were able to put together this amazing performance studio, and they have all these different rooms, and these guys that work out of there, talking about Garrett and Dylan and Nathan and all these guys, so talented, and they're wrestling marks to the fullest. I mean, these guys live and breathe wrestling. They used to live with Dallas in his old house, which is crazy, the whole story. So, and Steve had an office, in Dallas's house. So that's funny. I have a feeling that eventually AEW will move to TBS.
Really?
And it'll be back, because I know, little inside information.
Okay.
There were some years back, the WWE was actually trying to get onto TBS. It didn't work out when there was a certain person in charge of Turner.
Okay.
It wasn't a right fit. But I think with the people that run TBS or Turner now,
Well, it's all different now. I mean,
it's all different now.
AT&T or
Right.
whatever.
TBS has got heritage with wrestling.
Yeah, of course it is. That's how Ted Turner built his empire. The Atlanta Braves wrestling Andy Griffith.
Yeah, those three. Do you think it'll go back to TBS?
I don't know. TV has changed so much. I know it's I think there's a 2-year deal with TNT right now. After that, we'll see.
Yeah.
But I do know that our debut was the highest rated debut show on TNT in 5 years. So I know they got to be very happy.
And they tried to counter program with their NXT product,
Right.
which is a great product.
Yes, it is.
You almost like feel sorry for some of these younger guys and girls that are getting caught up in the business aspect of it when they were looking at it as kind of a developmental.
Right.
Now it's considered a third brand.
Right. Well,
But-
it's probably good for them. I mean,
I think it's great for them.
If you think about they're in development, it's developmental territory. If we use that old word. But now they're elevated on TV, in a prime time slot. So it makes them grow up a little bit quicker as far as wrestlers are concerned.
Who are some of the hidden weapons in AEW? I mean, you've seen wrestlers go from nobodies to superstars.
Right.
Some of the wrestlers that you see in AEW now, who do you think has that star power, that draw power eventually?
Well, obviously Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody, all the guys who are on the elite have that. They are our big stars. I'm just the story of the Young Bucks is just an amazing story.
Yeah.
How they have sold so much merchandise and sell their shirts on Hot Topic and walls without being on regular TV. It's just an amazing story. There's a kid and he's going to wrestle this Wednesday. He wrestled in one of our dark matches named Darby Allin. He paints half of his face and he's real thin. He's a former skateboarder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he on that? Is he from Orlando?
He may be, yeah.
He's straight edge. That's like no drugs, no alcohol.
Yeah.
Was he? There's that show. The Beyond Wrestling show. And then there's another show called The Wrestler where they go around. I think I know who you're talking about.
You'll see. He does some spectacular things.
Yeah, I know
Really,
what you're
really
talking
does.
about. Yeah.
Then we got Jimmy Havoc, who is from London, and it's just bizarre. And again, Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc do not look like prototypical wrestlers. But they just do some absolutely amazing things. I like Private Party. I think he's very, very good. Joey Janela is another guy. I mean, these guys do so many. That's how wrestling has changed. It's more the wrestling that I don't know how much ECW you watched back in the day. Okay. The ECW brand has almost stood the test of time.
Yeah.
With all the chair shots and table shots and crazy, acrobatic things.
Bring your own weapons.
Bring your own weapons, things like that. So I think you're going to really enjoy seeing Darby Allin and what he brings. And of course, Jake Hager is now with us as well.
I'm an Adam Page fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He
Absolutely.
just, there's certain people that have like this it factor.
Right.
Never met the guy, never talked to the guy, but you talk about that, the different look of today's wrestler. He's kind of got that, but still a little throwback. You know what I mean? But a great gimmick.
Right.
There's something about him. Just
Right.
something cool.
And now it's up to us to get you invested into his character.
Yeah.
You look at him like you're saying he's cool, but now you got to know more about him. I think that you've done a pretty good job of building him up, leading to his match with Chris Jericho before we started regular TV. But now that we got weekly TV, it's up to us to build these characters up so everybody knows him is invested in that.
Wasn't it one of the sayings in the wrestling business that you're only as good as the guy that puts you over? So you have to work with the right guy. I mean, you could go in with anybody if they're going to give you a crap match and they're not going to make you look good. Then it's pointless.
Exactly.
So you got to really team these guys up with the right opponents.
That was one of the reasons that Ric Flair has been such a wonderful performer throughout his years, because they always said Ric Flair could work with anybody. He can make anybody, you can have a good match with anybody, regardless of a wrestler not being able to quote unquote work a match. Ric Flair, to get in there with him, your match was good because he knew what to do. So yeah, you're right.
Most memorable match
For me?
that you called?
There's I get the same answer every time. There's no question. I've been working with the Crockett's, like I told you. They were sold to Turner Broadcasting in '89, and I decided I didn't want to work with Turner Broadcasting, and I got a job at the WWF back then. And by April of that year, Lord Alfred Hayes and I did Madison Square Garden Network (MSN) did the matches from Madison Square Garden that afternoon. It was 2 o'clock show. It was Hulk Hogan and the Big Boss Man in the steel cage. And being from a small time compared to everybody, Madison Square Garden was always like the mecca of pro wrestling. So now I'm calling matches to Madison Square Garden, and we get into an airplane, and we fly to Boston that night, and we do the Boston Garden for New England Sports Network. And so I did Madison Square Garden Network and New England Sports Network all in one day, and that's the biggest day I've ever had in wrestling.
What was the Boston match? Same match?
Same match, yeah.
Same match?
Yeah.
Big Boss Man, his daughter, has reached out to me on social media because she lives here in town.
Sure.
You know, and Boss Man obviously passed away some years ago, but she started a Big Boss Man fan club on social media.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, on a daily basis, she'll get some. I was always a Big Boss Man.
Yeah.
Like, going back to the bodyguard for Ronnie Garvin.
Right.
You know, and I just always liked his character. He was my favorite character to play in the original WWF arcade game.
Yeah.
Because of the sidewalk slam.
Right.
Just thought that was the coolest move.
Yeah.
Agile for a big man.
That was tremendous.
You know, that kind of stuff. I always thought it was cool. Do you have any regrets for the infamous telling everybody what's going to be happening on Monday Night Raw because it was taped match with Mankind, Mick Foley?
No, I don't have any regrets to that because I was doing what I was told.
Yeah.
And it's funny that a lot of fans remember that. I mean, God, do they ever remember that?
I was watching.
Yeah, it makes. If fans think that I had that much impact on the business, and God bless them. Okay, but if you go back and you watch, and I've watched plenty of it since then. You go back and you watch the old Nitros when Eric Bischoff was doing the commentating before me. He all the time mentioned what was on Raw.
Yeah.
He did that all the time. But the big moment was when Mankind won the world title, and they told me they didn't tell me exactly to say those words, but they told me to really shit on it. And so I did all I could. But no, I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. I guess I'm tied to Mick Foley for the rest of my life. That's right.
Read his book.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's not a bad guy to be tied to because he's certainly been a great star.
Yeah.
Great star.
Did you ever in your career have any influence on somebody's gimmick or character? Ever ask your advice and say, should I do this, should I do that?
Yeah, I'm the one that kind of developed Alexander York, the York Foundation. That was kind of my idea.
The York Foundation.
You don't remember the York Foundation?
No, I don't.
See?
Yeah.
There you go.
I know the
Never
Hart
mind.
Foundation.
Okay.
I don't know the York Foundation.
The York Foundation, Alexander York was a little girl with a computer, and everything was computer-made man. Mike Rotunda was Mr. Michael Wall Street.
Yeah.
And Terry Taylor became Terrence Taylor.
Yeah.
Ricky Morton became Richard Morton.
Yeah.
Richard Morton. They all were computer-based, and
That's funny. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
now, and I remember them in the ring and their look, but for some reason the York.
She was Alexander York was Terry Boatwright, who went on to marry Dustin, and she became Marlena with Goldust.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was your idea, the whole.
The York Foundation was my idea.
How did you go into that?
I don't know. She and I talked. She and I had lunch one day, and we talked about what they wanted to use her. She was, and Terry and I are still friends. She was always gorgeous, looked beautiful on camera, and Ole Anderson, who was our booker at that time, he said, we should be able to use her. She looks good. And I said, well, let me talk to her and have lunch. And she and I just sat down and talked about what could we do different, and we came up with this computer. And it's odd now because of all the analytics that are on sports now. We were kind of ahead of our time.
Yeah,
Right? That's right.
Yeah.
I also had a big influence into the Desperados. I don't know if you saw all that crazy stuff that we did. We shot that, all those vignettes in Ghost Mountain in the Sky and up in Cherokee, North Carolina. And Ghost Town in the Sky. I don't know if that's still a western town up there or not. And it was Dutch Mantell and Black Bart and Randy Collick, who we call Dead-Eye Dick.
Yeah.
And they were waiting for Stan Hansen to come to town. They were like the Three Stooges Cowboys. And we did that. We invested a lot of time in that. And I had a lot to do with that.
Stan Hansen as crazy as Stan's?
No, Stan Hansen was one of the nicest men ever.
Is he pure gimmick then?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, good guy.
Tobacco and everything.
Yeah, good guy. He's one of the nicest. He may have really chewed tobacco.
Oh, he had to.
Yeah, but one of the nicest men you'll ever want to meet. And everybody who knows wrestling knows that Stan, basically without his glasses on, couldn't see in front of him. You know, I mean, he's
Really?
terrible eyesight.
Wow.
So a lot of times when Stan hits you with a lariat, he really hits you with it because he didn't know how close he was.
That's funny.
But he was Stan was we had one of our recent events, Starcast in Las Vegas. That's like a fan fest. And I got to see how Father Stan for the first time. Not just a great what a performer.
He's always been known, you know, like, again, coming from the fan standpoint, you always want to know who's really a badass. You know,
Right.
obviously, guys like Haku, you hear stories.
Yeah, Haku was a badass.
And Stan Hansen was one that I would hear that was always a legit.
Well, you know,
Paul Orndorff.
right? You know, there are two ways you can approach this. They were probably Stan Hansen probably was a legit guy that should be fooled. Haku was no one wanted to fool Haku. You know, a lot of these Samoans were that barbarians. But in real life, they were really good guys. If you were a part of the group, the team, they were all good guys. And, you know, another Haku story. Haku was one of my favorites. Really is. He had sons who wrestled. We were back in the day, and we used to shoot our TV show. I don't know if you came out to Disney when we shot our TV shows. Now
Yeah.
we were in the Atlanta area.
Well, no, you're at Universal.
We were Disney first, and then we moved to Universal. We moved out of Disney when they started shooting Band of Brothers.
Really?
We moved out of Disney, yeah. But we started in Disney. As a matter of fact, the Olympic year, 1996, we moved, WCW offices moved from CNN Center because of the Olympics to backstage at MGM Studios.
Really?
Which are now the Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, Hollywood Studios.
Right.
Yeah.
So we moved our operation back there. So we were getting out of our car, rental cars, and walking towards the studio. And Haku said to me, he said, "I know you have a lot of boys." I said, "Yeah, I do. I have 4 boys." He said, "I have 2 boys." He said, "They don't listen to me. How do you get them to listen to you?" I said, "Well, if I were you, I'd tell them that I'm Haku. And I'd show them some of the things that I've done to people." I said, "I think that would change their mind.
Yeah.
I think they would listen to you." It blew my mind that those kids would listen to their dad. But he was one of the greatest guys ever.
It always surprised me because Haku lives in Orlando and he works for a dealership. He's been working for the Moss family for forever, and I knew them well when I lived there. Spent all my years there, and I was at a party actually on Disney property for the family, and he was there. And I think he was with his boys at the time, and they're having a great time, and they're dancing on tables and stuff. And I just always kind of, you know, it must be tough to be a guy that travels the world, on top of the world, big time wrestler, people wanting your autographs, hounding all the time, and then it just overnight, it's gone.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But he was cool with it. You know, he was, you know, he obviously, he didn't mind, he didn't need the fortune and fame, but for a lot of guys, I'm sure that's a struggle.
Yeah.
You know, to be out of the spotlight, know who you are, care who you are.
Right. Yeah. But, you know, he was a pretty strong family guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't travel like the boys traveled, but I had 4 boys and a girl, and I tried to be a father at the same time and be home when I could, and be attentive to them.
Did you miss the fame when you know,
Mr. Paycheck.
Mr. Paycheck?
Yeah.
Hey, I already looked over
You,
there.
you seem like a guy that you don't even realize how famous you are.
You know what? I guess maybe I don't.
I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying it's like it's Tony Schiavone.
Yeah,
We're
well,
just like it's Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, to me, and that's, you know, that's my, there's some people that, and I get this too because I work behind the scenes at the University of Georgia. I'm the producer of the radio network.
You remember Dave, right?
Dave Green?
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's not with our network now, but he has been.
He's a good guy, though.
Yeah,
Former
yes.
quarterback.
Yes,
Yeah,
Dave
great
Green's
guy.
one of the great guys. But I work with Scott Howard, Neil Williamson, Eric Zier. I had my son work with us as well. Jeff Panther, Kevin Butler. I'm going to forget somebody here. I shouldn't. Lauren Smith. It's the radio broadcast, and I go in the day before and I set up all the equipment, and I ride the levels, and I make sure that Scott Howard and Eric Zier hit their marks, as far as pitching the commercial breaks. We have readers I got to read, and I'm in charge of all that. And then I pull up the equipment, and it's kind of like, should you be doing this? I mean, you're like, it blows people away that I work behind the scenes like that, but.
Me included.
Yeah, but that's how I've always been.
Do you enjoy the producing more than the actual on air?
Yeah.
Would you rather do that moving forward with maybe AEW?
Probably so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Just because there's more longevity in this?
Yeah. I also was the type of guy who thought that you need to be more than just you need to be more valuable to the company than just an announcer. I edit audio. I'm learning video with Adobe Premiere now, so I can start editing video. I think you need to learn everything, and I think you need to be versatile in what you do. So I've always been that type of guy. Set up my own broadcast. I did it in minor league baseball all these years, which on a small time level. Football radio broadcast is a big operation. We have 3 wireless mics, guys down the field, FM transmitter to the fans in the stands, which is illegal, I know, but hopefully the people that went there will get arrested and I won't have to. No, I'm kidding. So, but I've always kind of liked to set up my equipment. I like to learn different things. I always become a guy that they can charge. One thing that the people at University of Georgia, or IMG now, and the Learfield IMG is where we work for, they told me that one of the reasons I'm valuable and I go on the road with the basketball team too. It's me, Chuck Dowell, and Scott Howard, and I'm the engineer, producer, and Chuck does the color, Scott does the play-by-play.
Wow.
And I've been doing this will be my 12th year doing Georgia basketball coming up. And the people at IMG have always told me, so we want you there because if something happens to Scott, you can also do the commentary. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I'm pretty valuable in many, many ways. I can sit up and turn down equipment and get you on the air.
You're talking about IMG like the tennis academy?
Yes, it's all one.
Yeah, well, you have
it's all
sports management.
It's all one.
Well, I didn't know that they had their hand on that too. Wow. That's great. Wow, I had no idea you were doing all those things. Well, if you want to learn all these things, now is the greatest time. This is the digital industrial revolution.
Absolutely.
You learn how to do all that stuff. You get some 8-year-old kid in Japan that teaches you on YouTube.
Right.
You just sit there and you can use your name and celebrity to do the Tony Schiavone grill podcast.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I have a podcast and it's been 3 years now. It's been very successful, and I'm the one that produced the podcast. We record it. They send it to me. I put the commercials in, I download it or upload it to Audio Boom. Soon we're going to go to Westwood One with it. And I do all the producing for it and mix it down.
That's the one you do with Kamado?
Right, and I do all the mix downs for it and everything, so, because I like doing that. Yeah. I do. And I don't think, I know Arn Anderson does a podcast with Conrad. I know he doesn't do mix down.
I was going to say, there's no way.
He can hardly operate a mouse, that dumbass. Okay, it's funny because I helped him set up his computer at his house. It was really funny.
I know Jericho doesn't do his stuff either.
Oh no, they just tape it. They tape it. They send it off to someone. Yeah. But we record ours, and I put in all the commercials, put in all the music.
See, that's a business in itself with all these wrestling podcasts that are going on right now.
Right.
Not one of them knows how to do that stuff.
Right.
And not all of them are going to be picked up by Podcast One or Westwood One. You start your own, hey, look, I'll edit it for you.
Yeah.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you already at the end.
Right.
That's tell me when you're hiring. That's a great business.
You've got to be versatile. You do.
That's fantastic. All right,
learn to plug stuff in there.
Sheed, again, explain what we have here. This looks amazing.
Wow, it does.
Good. You talk, we eat.
Okay.
I always get the short end of this one. So what we got here, just some wings, real simple, real quick. You saw how fast that went through. We're using a big chicken rub over here at Atlanta Grill Company. It's real flavorful, real bold, and I wanted the star of this dish be that ranch, actually. So the ranch is fresh dill, fresh cilantro, fresh lemon juice, some salt, some pepper, a little bit of dehydrated brown However, for a slight pinch of a little heat there, but it really comes to us that sour cream and buttermilk. Oh, just gotta make it, you know.
That is a start.
Thank you. Everyone can make wings.
No.
Everyone can make wings. You gotta make your own ranch.
That's the thing that she does. He takes something that everybody cooks or has cooked and makes it 5-star.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if these wings were at a party, I know I'd be the guy that sneaks in and keeps grabbing one. What temperature do you guys?
We're doing it about 450.
450.
And had you know how
Because you
always.
said it was quick. This wasn't quick. Well, Tony and I have been talking about an hour.
I guess for me it seemed that fast. But a lot of it actually was making the ranch, getting it prepped up, getting the dip ready. So, you know, I always like to run 2 zones, fill in the top rack, have the double plates at the very bottom. Separate, got my sear, got my cooked it, then rolled it right over onto the sear side, get that nice crispiness on the skin, tighten it up a bit. So,
wow, this is amazing.
So imagine if you wanted to do this, I would suggest grabbing the wings, hit them with some buttermilk overnight, let that tanginess really get in there and really tenderize it some more.
All right, well, Sheed, we'll put all these recipes up on our website. Plus, he's got phillipsbarbecueco.com.
We come from here, grab that rug from Atlanta Grill Company.
Yep. So Atlanta Grill Company, where we do the podcast. We love Jason, everybody inside. AtlantaGrillCompany.com. You can order grills and Yetis and seasoning. You can order everything. And Atlanta Steak and Seafood.com. Terry brought us the wings. Northside Tool Rental, Oxidine Law, TheHumidor.com, Bedlam Vodka, all of our great sponsors. Thank you so much. And Tony Schiavone will be watching Wednesdays, TNT, AEW, All Elite Wrestling. It's a great product, and I'm so glad you're back in the business.
I need to say this. One of the reasons I'm back in AEW, one of the main reasons I'm back in AEW is because of Jim Ross.
Really?
He and I have worked together for many, many years. We were very good friends. People thought that we were adversaries. We really weren't. He was in the WWF, I was in WCW. He went to Tony Khan. He says, I really want to work with him again.
Wow.
And so, JR, Cody Rhodes, Tony Khan are the reason that I'm working now in AEW. So
Did you stay in contact with JR all these years? He's a great, I mean, I know you know him better than I, but just a great soul.
Yeah.
Just a great soul.
Yeah, and he and I, to be able to walk out of the arena the other day, in the arena and watching him together was a moment I'll never forget.
You know what I wanted to ask you before we end this? Were you nervous?
No. I've never been nervous. I was very anxious because maybe nervous is anxious, I don't know. Because I was at our last fan fest and a lot of the fans, can't wait to hear you, JR. You guys are going to be fantastic. And so many people said it, I remember thinking, damn, I am going to have to be good.
Oh shit, I better not screw this up.
No. And then, before we went out, JR says, and he's always said to me before, he says, that's okay, kid. He's called me kid. He's only like 5 years older than me. He said, that's okay, kid, just follow me. And I'm thinking, I'm working with JR. How can I screw this up? Right? Just let him set the table and I'll just...
Are they in your ear for AEW?
Yeah. Got a guy named Keith Mitchell in my ear. Tony Khan talks so many times in my ear, but nothing like what goes on with the WWF.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I could never do a broadcast like that. Woo! That was good stuff.
You just killed 4 wings. I'm on my second. and hogs. And told JR story.
Yeah. Well, I don't. You know, I've been on a diet and I haven't had wings in quite a while, so I thought I would take full advantage.
Getting TV ready?
Well, yeah, I was.
You look great.
I've been on DDPY yoga.
Yeah.
Lost 4 pounds.
Wow.
You don't have to calm down since you broke it down to me.
Now it's another podcast.
Yeah,
Right.
He has my number and my address.
It's all about counting.
that kind of
It's
trouble.
all about counting calories.
Exactly.
So,
You are 54 pounds heavier?
yes.
Wow.
I weigh 269 and right now I'm at 215.
Good for you.
Wonderful.
You do it every day?
What, DDP yoga? I've really peeled off that, but I still count my calories.
Yeah. That's good. Good for you.
Thanks.
Wow, I couldn't imagine seeing that heavy. Like, I just...
Yeah, I was just real fat ass.
That's what not being on TV will do to you.
That's exactly right. Now, I have my beard, I have ear rings, I'm taking my beard. I'm really trying to be good.
You got to get a new gimmick, or maybe you shave the head, or come up with your own gimmick.
Thank you.
Maybe you'll be part of the Bring Back the York Foundation.
Get a tattoo on my neck.
Yeah, face tattoo. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Tony Schiavone. Please share, like, do all the cool stuff that makes this get to more people. And from everyone here at Shoot the Grill, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.